Hey everyone, welcome to another review, and here's my review for the critically acclaimed movie Spotlight. Yes, Spotlight is directed by Tom McCarthy. The director has done such great films as The Visitor, The Station Agent, and Win-Win, and this year's The Cobbler, but let's forget about that. This is the movie Spotlight. This movie stars Mark Ruffalo, Michael Keaton, Stanley Tucci, Rachel McAdams, and Liev Schreiber, and the story of this movie is a very great story, actually. Very interesting and kind of disturbing story. The story of this movie is about these reporters, these investigative reporters that work for this column called Spotlight. They work for the Boston Globe, and basically they're trying to prove that the Catholic Church is covering up all these sex scandals against these priests who are actually molesting young children. Yes, this is based on true events, and these reporters are investigating the Catholic Church and trying to prove that these molestations are actually happening, and it's a very disturbing and very gripping story, and the fact that it's based on true events makes it all the more disturbing and all the more interesting. And this movie, honestly, this movie Spotlight is phenomenal. And before I get into great details, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell a funny story. When I saw this movie in theaters, something happened when I saw this movie in theaters, and I will go into more depths of what happened at the end of this video. So yeah, look forward to that little story. But anyways, this movie is phenomenal. One of the best movies of the year. Will it make my top 10 list? God, I hope so, because Spotlight is a fantastic movie. It's so well written, it's so well directed, and it's beautifully acted by this great ensemble cast. Everyone is great in this movie. Michael Keaton, who doesn't love Michael Keaton? Come on, Beetlejuice, and he's Batman! Yes, Michael Keaton is phenomenal. He proved how amazing he was last year in Birdman, and he proves it once again. I hope he gets Best Actor or Supporting Actor. I don't know if he's a supporting or a lead. I hope he gets a nomination for his performance in this movie. Michael Keaton brought his A-game material in this movie. He's phenomenal in this movie. He's so good. Mark Ruffalo, also, he should get nominated. Mark Ruffalo is fantastic. He's a great actor, and he's great in this movie. Liev Schreiber, he's a great character. He was like one of my favorite characters in this movie because he really wants to get to the bottom of this scandal, and his character was really good, very interesting. Actually, I wanted to know more about his character. I wanted a little more character development with his character, but what we got, he was a great character, and he played a great part in this movie. He was so good. Stanley Tucci is also phenomenal in this movie, and Rachel McAdams, I found her the weakest out of everybody. She was still good. She's a great actress, and she was good in the movie. But that's all she was. She was good. All these performances by all these actors gave A-game material. They were phenomenal, top-notch, Oscar-worthy performances. She didn't really give an Oscar-worthy performance. She was good, but everyone just like outstaged her in this movie. She was still interesting. I enjoyed her character, but she was just good. Not great, but good. But that's a nitpick. And again, the writing, Tom McCarthy wrote a phenomenal screenplay. The story is fascinating and very disturbing. Really disturbing, and there's some imagery and some stories you hear in this movie, especially about the victims. When they interview all the victims of all these molestations, it's very disturbing to hear, and it's very sad, very tragic stories, and you feel bad for all these people that went through all these tragedies, and all the actors that play all these victims are great actors. They do a phenomenal job, and the writing for this movie was so well done. The story, beautifully told, and the dialogue was very riveting. Very good and very smart dialogue in this movie. And these characters were all beautifully written characters, and it was a very well directed film, very well executed, very well structured, and just very, very well done, very well handled, and just very well crafted and very well put together. And Tom McCarthy did a phenomenal job. This is one of his best movies. I don't think it's not as good as Station Agent, but it's better than The Visitor and Win-Win, and I love The Visitor and Win-Win, and this is probably like Tom McCarthy's second best movie, and it is much better than The Cobbler. Fuck The Cobbler, I hated that movie. This movie actually makes up for The Cobbler, because The Cobbler was just such a god-awful movie. I'm like, oh my god, has Tom McCarthy lost all his talent? No, he's back, and he's awesome, and he did a phenomenal job with this movie. This just makes you forget all about The Cobbler, because Spotlight is a fantastic movie. It's so well done. It's such a gripping story. Again, just like Bridge of Spies, if you're not into like dialogue-fueled movies, then this is not a movie for you. If you're looking for a psychological thriller or a creepy movie, it is creepy, but not in like a horror movie kind of way. If you're looking for like an action movie or a thriller, this is not for you. This is a straight up dramatic film and based on true events, and it's a gripping story, but it's a gripping story if you pay attention. You gotta pay attention to this movie. You gotta get involved with these characters, and because when you get involved with these characters, you have a better experience watching this film, and it's a great movie. If you like movies with lots of dialogue and a very powerful story and some great writing, you will love this movie. It's a very well done movie. It's got a very good score. The score was very well composed in this movie too. And did I have some problems with it? Yeah, minor nitpicks, but I'm not going to go through those because honestly, this movie is fantastic. This is an Oscar contender for sure. I don't know how many Oscar nominations it's going to get, but I hope it gets a lot because it deserves it. It's an amazing movie. Spotlight, I cannot possibly recommend more. Check it out if it's in a theater near you. It's fantastic. Go see it. Scale 1 to 10, I'll give the movie Spotlight a 9.4 out of 10. So yeah, check this movie out. It's so good. So yeah, I'm going to talk about a little story that happened to me when I was watching this movie in theaters. Okay, it's a very short story. When I saw this movie, the movie theater was pretty packed. I went with my mother and my sister because they really wanted to see this movie, and it was really packed. It was full of like an older crowd, not a lot of young people. I think there was a girl with her grandparents, mostly older people, like 35 and up. And yeah, when I saw this movie, people were offended by this material, the things they were talking about in this movie. And a guy, like a couple seats down from me, he got up out of his chair, put his coat on, and left the theater and slammed the door. I have no idea why. Like, I'm like, this movie's not that bad. I have a feeling he was offended of what this movie was talking about. I don't know. And then literally an hour later, when, like, there's a scene when the victims are talking about what happened to them, after that scene, these two old ladies in front of us walk out of their seats and they're like, I can't handle this anymore. And they walked out of their theater. I'm like, wow. And here, by the ending of this movie, these people in the very back of the row, they walk out of the movie and they're just like shaking their heads and like, oh my god, did this movie really offend people or piss people off that much? It was weird. I never went to a movie and experienced something like that before. People were actually getting angry at this movie. Like, they were angry and pissed off at what this movie was talking about. And I'm like, wow, is this movie that controversial? I didn't think it was, but well, it was weird. It was a weird experience. Like, I've had some funny experiences at the movies, but nothing quite like that and that extreme. Like, people were really pissed off when they were leaving the theater. So yeah, I don't know, but that was just a funny little story. And yeah, so yeah, please, in the comment section below, please tell me, this has got nothing to do with the movie, but please tell me, what is your funniest and strangest experience at the movie theater? Yeah, comment below, let me know, give me some of your stories. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.